Libra, people fall in love with you for only 3 reasons. Let me ask you a question before we begin. Think about the people who have fallen in love with you, not necessarily romantically, but those who gravitate toward you, who stay, who come back. Have you ever stopped to wonder why, really? Not the superficial why, not because I'm cool or because I listen well. The real why, the underlying mechanism. Because there's something Libra does, something you do that most people can never quite name. They know they feel it, they know they come away from conversations with you different from how they went in, but they don't know what happened. And the most disturbing thing is that you don't know it either. You think it's natural. It's not. What you do is extraordinarily rare. In this video, I'm going to name 3 specific reasons why people fall in love with Libra, not the horoscope cliches, but the invisible patterns that operate within you with a precision that will make you uncomfortable in a very interesting way. And these 3 reasons have a shadow, a part that nobody mentions, which explains why Libra, who knows so much about love, sometimes feels that the love they receive doesn't truly reach its core. Stay with me. This isn't about astrology. It's about you. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how conversations with you rarely end where they began? How someone arrives with a problem and leaves with a different perspective? Not because you offered a solution, but because something within them shifted in your presence. You didn't teach them anything. You didn't solve anything. You simply stood there, present in a specific way, and the other person transformed. This has a name, and it's not being nice. That's the first of 3 reasons, and when you understand what's really going on, you'll look at all your relationships with completely different eyes. But before we get there, before we name what you do, I need to ask you a question that might make you a little uncomfortable. Not too much, just enough to awaken something within you. When was the last time someone was there for you in the same way you are for others? I'm not talking about company, I'm talking about real presence. The kind where you feel the other person is seeing you, not the version of you that's good at making people feel good, but what's underneath. What you rarely let show because you learned very early on that that's not what the world needed from you. Libras learn early, very early. Learn that harmony is not a natural state, it's an achievement. That balance doesn't exist, it's built moment by moment, reading the environment by reading it, and that you are particularly good at it, better than almost everyone else. The problem is that being good at it and receiving the same in return are completely different things. And most sign language users experience this difference silently for years before understanding what they are feeling. Now look at the 3 reasons why people fall in love with you. The first isn't what you think. It's not the smile, it's not the kindness, it's not that ability to say the right thing at the right time. These are just the visible evidence of something that happens on a much deeper level. What really happens is that you mirror it, not in the sense of imitating, of copying, in the real sense of receiving. When someone speaks to you, you capture that person's emotional state with near superhuman precision. The tension behind the words, what isn't being said, what the person needs to hear without knowing they need it. And then you give that back. Not as a copy, but as a clean reflection. The person feels seen, understood, validated on a level they can rarely access on their own. And when someone feels like that, when someone finally feels truly seen, the love that blossoms isn't a fleeting feeling. It's an anchor. You become the place that person returns to when the world seems too dull. And here comes the question you may never have asked aloud. If you create this space so easily for others, who creates this space for you? It was while searching for answers to this that I found this digital book. The divine path that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose is not a book about astrology in the common sense. It doesn't tell you that you are this way or that way because of your birth date. It shows you, specifically for Libra, how these patterns that you operate so naturally, this mirroring, This nurturing, this powerful presence can be transformed from automatic mechanisms into conscious choices. How you can continue to be who you are, but from the inside out, instead of from the outside in. You are in this moment right now, recognizing something within yourself that is still forming, that doesn't yet have a clear outline. This is exactly the right moment, not when everything is resolved. Now, while the perception is still alive and warm, the link is in the first pinned comment. But be aware, this content may be taken down. Click now and download your copy. And in the comments, tell me, have you ever realized that you were being someone's emotional mirror while feeling like no one was being yours? Because this is the truth no one has told you yet. The 3 reasons why people fall in love with you have a shadow. And the shadow isn't weakness, it's the part that hasn't yet been integrated. Let's move on to the second reason. There's a phenomenon that happens when you enter a room. It's not visual, it's not what you wear or how you smile, although that's real too. It's something more subtle. The atmosphere relaxes. The conversation flows differently. People seem more comfortable being themselves, less defensive, less performative. You architect space, not physically, psychologically. Imagine a recording studio built with professional acoustic treatment. The musician enters it, and something changes instantly. The room doesn't play any instruments. It doesn't offer melody or lyrics. But without it, the music that exists within the musician simply cannot come out with the same clarity. The room creates the condition. The room is the space where sound becomes itself. You do this to people. Without realizing it, you calibrate the emotional temperature of any relationship you enter. You notice when someone is tense and you soften the blow. You notice when someone is lost and you anchor them. You notice when someone needs space and you retreat. This reading isn't conscious, it's almost instinctive, and the result is that people feel in your presence authorized to exist. This is extraordinary. It's a real gift. And there's a cost that nobody mentions. Creating space for others all the time means you've spent a good part of your life learning to fit into the space that was left over. Not because no one offered you space. Sometimes they did, but you didn't know how to inhabit that space without a role to play within it, without someone to welcome, without a balance to maintain, without a harmony to build. What does Libra do with empty space? This is one of the most unsettling questions a Libra can ask themselves, and most avoid it. Not because you're a coward, but because empty, purposeless space is a territory Libra has rarely inhabited. You grew up knowing you were good at serving as a music room for others, but who asked you what music you wanted to play? The third reason goes even deeper, and it's the most beautiful and the most painful of the 3. Libra speaks a language that everyone understands, but that no one can fully learn. It's not Portuguese, it's not any spoken language, it's the language of beauty. I'm not talking about physical beauty, although Libra often possesses it. I'm talking about something that goes beyond that. The way you organize an idea so that it seems inevitable. How you choose words that soothe without diminishing. How you appear in a room and how something visually harmonizes. How you resolve a conflict without anyone leaving the conversation feeling defeated. This is beauty as a language, as a system of communication. It's a lingua franca. It's not anyone's native language, but when someone speaks it fluently, everyone understands them instinctively. And you speak with a fluency that you've spent your whole life developing without realizing you were developing it. The problem with speaking a lingua franca is that it brings everyone closer together, but on some level, nobody knows you in your native language. Everyone understands what you say, but how many people understand what you mean? There is a huge difference between the two things, and here we arrive at the central paradox, the point that perhaps you have never been able to name, but that you have felt somewhere within yourself for a long time. Libra is extraordinarily good at being loved. This is the phrase that nobody says the right way. Everyone says Libra is charming, Libra attracts people, Libra has this certain something. But what lies beneath all of that is more accurate and more unsettling than any adjective. You are good at creating the conditions for love to exist, and that is different, very different from simply receiving love. Creating conditions for love is an active skill. It's an emotional architecture. It's what you do when you calibrate the environment, when you mirror the other person, when you find the word that dissolves tension without anyone realizing there was tension. It's what you do when you enter a relationship and transform it into a place where the other person feels safe to be who they are. And the question this raises is simple and devastating. Who creates these conditions for you? I'm not asking if anyone loves you. I'm sure they do. I'm asking if anyone knows how to create for you what you create for others. If anyone reads you with the same precision, if anyone perceives what you're not saying with the same ease that you perceive it in others. For most sign languages, the honest answer is sometimes yes, but rarely with the same depth. And that's nobody's fault. It's a natural consequence of the pattern. When you're so good at creating the space, others become comfortable in it and rarely realize that the space has a creator who also needs space. You've created a space for others to feel free. And in doing so, you've realized there's a room within you that you've never opened to anyone. A room you don't quite know how to name. The question is, who is Libra when they're not creating space for anyone else? The divine path that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose was written for this moment. For Libra, who recognizes their power to create harmony in others and is still learning to create harmony within themselves. It shows that these two paths are not opposites. They are the same force in different directions. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. Libra is extraordinarily good at being loved, perhaps the most skilled of the 12 signs in this regard. They know how to receive affection gracefully, how to reciprocate with elegance, and how to create relationships that seem almost perfect from the outside, balanced, beautiful, and full of mutual care. And at the same time, in many Libras, there is a deeper layer that rarely appears to those on the outside, the feeling that the love that reached you didn't reach the depths of your being. It reached the version you presented. It reached the music room, not the musician. Do you ever feel this way? When someone says, "I love you," part of you receives it with genuine affection, and another, quieter part thinks, "But you don't know this part. I've never shown this part to anyone." It's not distrust. It's a protection that Libra has learned to build so elegantly that sometimes even Libra itself doesn't realize it's operating. Imagine an art gallery with a brilliant curator. The gallery attracts crowds. The curator knows every work, every artist, every story behind each painting. The gallery is beautiful. People leave transformed. But the curator never exhibits his own work, not because they have nothing to show, on the contrary, but because they learned that their role is to create the space where others shine. And over time, they forgot that they also have something they want to say, something they want to show, something that needs to be seen. This is the central paradox of Libra in relationships. You create the ideal conditions for love to take root. And then, at the moment when love is there, fully available, there's a part of you that doesn't quite know how to truly let it in, how to show the other person what's behind the gallery. It's not that you're fake, it's that you're so good at creating space for others that you've forgotten how to fully inhabit your own space. And when someone happens to get close enough to see what's behind the gallery, what you feel isn't just joy. It's a mixture of something that seems like tenderness and something that seems like panic. Because being truly seen, for Libra, is both what they most desire and what scares them most. It's a paradox that Libra carries with silent elegance. And when finally named, it usually produces a mixture of relief and recognition, the feeling that something that was loose in the explanation of oneself has finally fallen into place. The language of beauty that you speak so fluently brings everyone closer. But there's something you want to say that you haven't yet found the right words for. Something about who you are when no one needs harmony. About the music you play when the room is finally all yours. The divine path that guides your zodiac sign towards a life of purpose works precisely on this layer, the one behind the lingua franca, the one only you know. It was created to help Libra transform their gift of communication into real self-knowledge without losing anything of who they are. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. To be truly seen, not the gallery, but the curator, is both Libra's greatest desire and greatest fear. You've spent years perfecting the space where others shine. But what lies hidden behind the gallery is still waiting. The divine path that guides your zodiac sign towards a life of purpose is the map to that territory you haven't yet fully explored. For the Libra version that learns to showcase their own work with the same generosity with which they've always showcased the work of others. For the love that reaches the very core, not just the gallery. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. But here's what changes when Libra really starts to realize this. You don't have to stop being who you are. You don't have to stop reflecting, creating space, speaking the language of beauty. These aren't vices, they're powers. They're the three real reasons why people fall in love with you. And they're genuine, they're yours, they're beautiful. What changes is the direction. Imagine a compass that has been calibrated for years to point north, pointing to the north of everyone around it. It worked. It indicated the right paths, helping people get where they needed to go. But the compass never asked itself, and where do I want to go? When Libra begins to turn the mirroring inward, to capture its own states with the same precision with which it captures those of others, something that had been scattered for a long time begins to organize itself. You begin to see yourself with the same clarity with which you see others. And what you find is not imperfection. It is a whole person who was waiting to be recognized by themselves before needing to be recognized by the world. The safe space you create for others, you can create it for yourself too. It's the same muscle, it's the same skill, it just needs a different direction. And the language of beauty, the one everyone understands, begins to say something it has never said before. It begins to speak of you, not the curated version, the real version with all its layers, with the work that has never been exhibited in the gallery. And when that happens, when Libra learns to receive what it has always known how to give, the three reasons why people fall in love with you are transformed. They don't disappear. They just get deeper. Because now the mirror that you are also reflects who you truly are. The space you create now includes you, and the language you speak now has a voice that is uniquely yours. And then, for the first time, the love that reaches you reaches the very bottom, not all the way to the gallery, all the way to the curator, not all the way to the music room, all the way to the music that was waiting to be played, not just the reflection, just you. The three reasons why people fall in love with Libra are real. They are powerful, they are beautiful, and they are just the beginning of the love that Libra deserves to receive, when it finally decides that it too is worthy of entering that balance, not as the weight that balances others, as someone who has their own weight, their own history, and a presence that deserves space as much as anyone you have ever welcomed. Libra is not a mirror image. It is a soul that has learned to use the mirror to find itself, and that, when it finally turns to itself, discovers that what it was looking for outside never needed to come from outside. It has always been here, And perhaps that's why those who love a Libra rarely manage to forget, because loving a Libra isn't just about liking a person. It's about being seen through a mirror with a soul. It's about feeling more whole in a presence that, without asking for anything in return, gives you back something you had lost. This is Libra's gift. This is Libra's burden. And this is Libra's transformation. Learning to give this gift to oneself is not selfishness. It's the bravest gesture a Libra can make. Because when you finally turn the mirror on yourself, what you find isn't vanity, it's recognition. And recognition for a Libra who has spent their entire life recognizing others tastes unlike anything they've ever known. Older, more complete, more their own.